Folks, BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch games as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, UFC, and the NHL, baby. Get those Mishkov bets in. He's going to score soon. We know it. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use promo code BLEAV, B-L-E-A-V, for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Enjoy the show. Folks, we're back. It's it might look a little different today. I'm certainly here, but Ryan Quigley could not make it. He's on assignment just trying to find out exactly what happened to John Tortorella in his youth to scar him so much. But while he's doing that, we've got Joe DeMarini, Italian Joe himself, here to fill in on the pod, on the Perbs here. And it's funny because we just recorded the BSH podcast last week. And it's funny because, like, objectively speaking, this should probably be more of the same, right? But for some reason, I get that Fred Durst background in, Fred Durst and Gritty in the background. I get our friend the Rat in the corner. And I get the fact that it's my show, that I have openly admitted that I like doing the way I do for pure chaos. So there might be more tangents. There might be more chaos than that last week one. I was trying to be respectful to what Joe and Ryan Gilbert have been building over there. But that's not the case here. Our friend the Rat dictates chaos. So I actually don't have a chaotic intro. I thought about it, but I don't think enough weird stuff has happened to me in Philly to come up with a proper chaotic intro. And weird stuff usually does happen, but like, no, it's Christmas. I don't know. I've been walking through the Christmasville. I got nothing. Nothing particularly weird. I mean, like yesterday, I did PHLY last night. By the way, Wednesday night was awesome. We surprised Kelly Hinkle for her birthday at the PHLY studios, and it was really cool. It was me, Joe, and Maddie went up, and Kelly had no idea we were coming up, so she was really surprised, and we did a little watch along with the gang for a really weird game against the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh God, that was a weird one. No, like my big takeaway from that watch party, it's fun to watch hockey with other people. Like we were talking about it on the way out that a lot of us are just like sitting at home on our couch and like watching a hockey game, and getting a big group together to watch is a lot more fun than alone on the couch. But hey, you're not alone. You're not alone. You get Bruce. You get Bruce to watch hockey with.
I do have Bruce, and Emily sometimes gets into it. Sometimes I'm watching on my laptop on the side, but I'm not alone. I'm certainly not alone. No, it was fun to get together with people who were into it and passionate and cracking jokes. I was glad I got to pull out the Gordon Ramsay impression for that one. Shut it down. I can say shut it down now in two different accents because Gordon Ramsay and John Taffer both use it.
We did discuss about how, like, if John Tortorella and Gordon Ramsay met, that like that would be a meeting of the minds. And I'm sure that Gordon Ramsay would gift John Tortorella 2 slices of white bread so that anytime a Flyers player was making mistakes, he could just go up to this player and be like, "What are you?
An idiot sandwich?"
Yes, it'd be beautiful.
It would be beautiful. I would love that meeting of the minds. And I had mentioned this on the pod, or I guess it wasn't a pod. It was just like a streaming watch along. But I had mentioned the fact that Gordon Ramsay had appeared on, I think it was Kitchen Nightmares, in Allentown in a Phantoms jersey before. So I'm glad we did find something a little bit crazy to start with.
Oh my God.
This is what he appeared like. He had this big bushy beard on, and like you could see him in his like Phantoms jersey over here, and it's outstanding.
Claude Giroux, is that you? Like, he looks like a blonde bearded Claude Giroux.
Amazing.
That's crazy.
Yeah, 24 hours to hell and back. That's what it was.
Yeah, well, I mean, just ask Aleksei Kolosov about Allentown and how that is basically his version of hell.
The hell of Allentown. I mean,
Billy Joel wrote a song about it. I mean,
in Allentown.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is actually a good transition right there for Kolosov because, like, he did talk about what a hell Allentown is and how he didn't want to play there and everything. I mean, he never actually said it.
No.
We were just kind of hearing this all secondhand. But the fact remains, he didn't want to play there, and that's part of the reason he's with the Flyers right now. Like, the other part of the reason is the fact that Fedotov has got the most unorthodox, weird style of goaltending I've ever seen.
Yeah, how does Kelly describe it? Bajiggity?
I think of it as like breakdance fighting from Zoolander. They're breakdance fighting. Like, that's how I feel when I'm watching him in net. It's crazy. It makes no sense to me. But
maybe he has the same problem where he can't turn left.
It could be.
I'm not an ambiturner.
I think Bill used to use that for Peter Mrazek too, which is great.
Yeah, that sounds familiar.
Yeah, but regardless, like it's a style that does not inspire confidence when you see him out there. Like, you watch Ivan Fedotov in net and you kind of gag a little bit and you worry and you get anxiety. It's not good for anybody's health. So Kolosov, on the other hand, has had like a very like regular ass style, right? Like, he looks like a goaltender. He looks like an NHL goaltender, and he played fantastic last week. In that Red Wings game, he was tremendous. Like, that was his best NHL game. It was a beautiful thing. That save he made near the end was just like clutch as it gets.
It was clean.
And you felt good, right? Especially now that he's the official backup. But I had some issues with how John Tortorella decided the schedule for the goaltenders this week. Number one, I think he was hoping that they would get the easy win against Detroit with like Ersson in net. But like, I don't know. I feel like you had to put Kolosov in, especially after his success against Detroit. You put Kolosov in there, and then you have Ersson face the really tough LA Kings opponent. Like, you can't sleep on the Kings. The Kings I think they're still in second place in the Pacific, which has the damn Edmonton Oilers in it.
They're one of the better play driving teams in the league. I don't remember exactly, but it's like top 5, top 3 even. They are I think they're frauds, but they're still a really good team.
Yeah, I agree. And, I mean, a lot of that's Anze Kopitar is still doing it at 37, which is unreal. Like, the guy is so damn good. But the thing is, they're a tough opponent. Like, they're not necessarily the highest scoring team, but they are a team that you can't sleep on. And the pivotal play in that game was at the end of the second period. The Flyers were up 3-2. Kolosov had the chance to freeze a puck, and he didn't get his glove over onto it quick enough. And Kopitar just snatches that mine and throws it into the back of the net before you can even blink.
Real rookie shit. Rookie shit.
That's the thing. It's real rookie shit. That's shit that he's just got to learn. You could say it's pace of play in the NHL. It certainly is a factor, but like, a veteran goaltender, I would even say Samuel Ersson, knows that you got to get to that puck quicker. You have to freeze that puck. And that killed all the momentum. And then the Flyers end up like pretty deflated going into the third period. And they got their socks blown off in the third period. They were absolutely rocked. The Kings killed them in the third, and it sucked. And, Kolosov just fell apart. And it's weird because, like, I feel like he's made great saves. I feel like his form's really good.
His first period that game was unreal. He made some outstanding saves for like the first 30 minutes of that game.
I felt good about him for most of the game. For the first like 2 3/4 of the second period, whatever it was, like, I felt good about him for a while. And then when the wheels fell off, they fell off hard. And, it's all rookie stuff. And, it's one of the tough realities as a fan of the 2024-25 Philadelphia Flyers that you kind of have to swallow the fact that you're going to have to put up with this because you don't have a set backup. And that was the plan coming in. This is all prove it with these guys. Like,
and I'm much happier that it's Kolosov making these mistakes and not like Cal Peterson. Like, if Cal Peterson was up here making these mistakes, we'd be like, well, why isn't Kolosov or Fedotov playing? We should at least be finding out about them. So, they are finding out. And
I'm glad it's not Cal Peterson. I can't stand Cal Peterson. God.
So this is just going to be a teachable moment, a learning moment. Hopefully he doesn't do it again. But yeah, we just, you said it. We have to just kind of swallow this. We just kind of have to be like, well, this is part of it. This is what's going to happen.
Yeah. And it kind of sucks too that Kolosov is so picky about being in Allentown, because I really do think if he spent the first half of the season with the
Yeah.
Phantoms, he'd be a lot better. And
Yeah.
we just had to kind of suffer through Fedotov. Like I would totally understand that if that was the case. But hey, it is the situation. It's a little unique, but like whatever. And it's just like you do have to accept it though. And I think that's really difficult for a lot of fans to do, because not everybody agrees with the current plan as it is and everything. But look, without Carter Hart, this team needs somebody to be the starting goaltender. And we like Sam Harrison. We
Yeah.
think Sam Harrison could be a starting NHL goaltender.
I'm a
We
big
still don't
believer. I'm a
we
big
still
believer.
I like him a lot, but we still don't know that he can be the guy, because he's never played a full NHL season. And until we see him do that with good numbers, we don't know that.
Yeah.
He was a backup for the first half of last year. Second half, he was the starter, and he had periods of being really good, but then he also got worn down by the pace of play and the schedule and everything.
Well,
So
I would say he was a backup to start the season, but by like November, early December, he'd played himself into a tandem role with Carter Hart.
a
And
little
then
bit, but
and
I
then
would
when
still
Hart
argue he was the backup at that point.
I think they were I don't remember the exact numbers, but I think they were getting almost 50-50 starts by like the time Carter Hart left the team. So he played himself into that role. I don't think Kolosov is pushing himself into a 50-50 start with Ersson.
No.
I'm
Kolosov is currently 4-6-1, 3.34 GAA, 878 save percentage. It's
gross.
ugly numbers. Yeah.
That's bad. I think on the broadcast last night, I saw a like a what do you call them? Like a pop up, like the things that the broadcast throws up on screen with like stats and stuff. They said the Flyers have allowed
Infographic, right?
infographic. Sure, we'll go with that. They've allowed 4 or more goals in 17 games this season. That's like more than half the games, isn't it?
That's bad. That's
That's
bad.
not good. They played 33 games, and in 17 of them, that's pretty much half of them.
This is such a weird team. It really is. And
hey, the funny thing is, I just pulled up Tankathon when I recorded with you or with Gilbs on Monday or Sunday or whatever it was. The Flyers were like in a bubble playoff position. They are now the 11th in the draft order. So, hey, with some luck, they could win that lottery, baby.
you're gonna see a lot of fluctuation because the Flyers are such a spectacularly mid team. And the thing is, the Flyers, I was talking about this with Bill last night. Like the lack of elite talent is a real problem as far as scoring goes. It's Mishkov and Konechny and question mark from there. I Tippett. I put Tippett up there too.
I do.
You have like those 3 guys, and then it kind of falls off precipitously. And that's going to be a problem throughout the year, and that's not going to get fixed this year. Okay.
Well, you know who didn't have a problem scoring last night?
Typho.
Tyson Forster had a heck of a game, and he's started to look like what we expected from the start of the year. So that's one big positive to take out of that game.
Sure. And here's the thing. If the Flyers are going to make a playoff push, which again, it could be 50-50 on if they make the playoff push or they get into the NHL draft lottery this year. As we record this right now, the Flyers are below the Penguins in the Metro. They have 32 points. The Penguins have 35 points. Flyers 33 games played. The Penguins 34.
Yep.
The Rangers 31 points in 31 games played. And wow, the Blue Jackets and Islanders also 31 points, but both 33 games played. So the thing is, it's all very tight in the division. And the difference
East?
between the East in general. Like
the East is so shit. Like, what the hell is going on? Parity, baby.
Well, I feel like the East, it is shit, but it's also like it's very top heavy where you've got like the Panthers, the Leafs. It used to be the Bruins, but they're kind of like the mid team right now, and the same with the Lightning. But the Devils are up there, inexplicably the Capitals and the Hurricanes. Like those are teams like I would say, I have no doubt about it that like the Leafs, the Panthers, and the Lightning, and probably the Devils and the Hurricanes are making the playoffs. And at this point, you kind of have to argue that the Caps seem like locks just because I can't explain their success, but they've been successful to this point. Like they've been doing it. So, you got to think those teams are locks. So that's only a couple spots open at this point. The Flyers could be in the mix. The Penguins could be in the mix. But, the difference between like the fifth place or fourth place in the Metro, and last place is 4 points right now. It's 2 wins. So it's razor thin, and a lot's going to depend on what happens at the trade deadline. And you also have a little international tournament flavor thrown into February. So there's a lot of interesting X factors that are going to come out of this. The Flyers are on a little bit of a skid right now. They lost the last couple, and the Detroit game was a big deflating loss there because like that's a game they should have won. They played like dog shit in. They were terrible.
That was kind of a must win if you're on team playoffs. Like that, the Red
Wings
win
games like that.
Yeah, they're a conference rival who, like, you were in a dead heat with right to the game 82 last season. Like, you really want to go through that again? I don't think so.
No. And then this Saturday they play the Columbus Blue Jackets, which is, and that's the thing. The Flyers are generally good at beating up on the worst teams when they're playing them. That's one of the few good things this Flyers team does consistently is they usually beat up on the worst teams. They'll give a fight to some of the good teams, but like they usually can't. Like LA last night, the Flyers completely outplayed the Kings in the second period. It was like bizarro Flyers. It was crazy. But then the third period, LA showed why they're the better team. They got their opportunity. They took it to tie it up, and then they just kicked their ass for an entire period. It was just disgusting. But they're a good hockey team, and the Flyers are big question mark. I'd say mid. On their worst day, they're a terrible team. On their best day, they're a pretty good team. But they're never a great team in their current state. It's just they're not capable of it.
There's no consistency there. I think they said on the broadcast the Flyers didn't get a shot in the third period until like 6 minutes were left. Like they just like the shot suppression of the Kings just absolutely steamrolled the Flyers in that third period. So not really going to win a lot of games if you can't get the puck on net. No, I don't know, guys.
No, definitely not going to win those games. And you know, I feel bad for Kolosov in some respects. The defense wasn't great last night. Tortorella making his stand with scratching Cam York last night and choosing to keep Zamula in. I wouldn't say Zamula was particularly to blame for any of the goals last night. Jamie Drysdale definitely had some bumps last night.
Yeesh.
But Drysdale also shouldn't have been put in the position he was in to be playing top line minutes and pairings with Travis Sanheim. They both played 22 plus minutes last night. And like, we kind of know at this point, like Drysdale's a guy who has talent, but like he's very raw still and needs a lot of development. So I thought it was kind of foolish on tour. There were a couple decisions I really disagreed with Tortorella on last night.
That defense was, what were those pairs? So it was Sanheim, Drysdale, 6'9", nice.
Nice.
Zamula, Andrae, and then Sealer
Risto, right? It was Sealer Risto, which is like, why do you have your two most defensive guys together? I don't understand that at all.
A shutdown pair, I guess. That just doesn't. Also, Zamula is not physical enough, or like, I don't know. The Zamula Andrae pair just seems weird on paper because they've been playing Zamula at left defense, which is Andre's position. So Zamula had to move to the right. I mean, we saw in the first period, Travis Konechny had an incredible check. Like, great check of the game on Nick Sealer into the boards. Like, they just collided in the neutral zone.
Man, they had that. Ryan Paling scored on the Flyers. It was a good time.
Oh, like, I don't know if that just comes down to, like, too much of a shakeup. Like, maybe Konechny isn't on the ice that often with Nick Sealer, so he's not expecting Sealer to be there, but
dude, there were so many times last night, in particular, when I looked up and they were running into each other. Oh, excuse me, pardon me, didn't know you were going to be here, bud. Like, it's like these guys never played together before, and some of these guys have been playing together for years at this point. Like, Sealer and Konechny didn't just start playing together this week. Like, if it's Emil Andrae that's like running into somebody, it's like, sure, Emil Andre's been here for just like a few games, but like Nick Sealer has been a Flyer for like a couple years now.
A while. And kind of is
a while.
This defense core. Like, he's so important.
He is important. And I truly did not understand Sealer Risto. Like, especially, like, why are you also going to mess around with, like, I'm convinced at this point that Tortorella chalked that game up to a loss. So he's like, let's just try some shit out. Because, like, again, starting Kolosov against the Kings instead of the Red Wings, bad decision. Sanheim with Drysdale there instead of one of the guys he's actually had success with before. He's had success with both Andrae and Ristolainen. Go with one of those guys. Sealer with Drysdale works out fine because Sealer can complement Drysdale's, offensive ability with his defensive mindset. And then, or hell, I mean, okay. Why didn't they go Andrae with Sanheim? And then they could have gone with, Andrae Sanheim would have worked out.
They've done it
and then
before.
They could have gone Risto with Samula, which is cromulent. It's not the best, not the worst. And then you could have gone Sealer Drysdale. Like,
I mean,
I don't know what he was thinking.
The only argument I could think is that I'm keeping a very close eye on Jamie Drysdale since he's come back from injury, because I've got an article kicking around in my head. He has been, he's been back for, let me just count here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. In 4 out of those 6 games, he has had a plus expected goals for percentage, and not just like good, but like 77.4, 86, 71 in 3 of them. Those are outstanding underlying statistics.
So I wonder if Tortorella then was thinking, all right, let's give him a shot and see if he can do something a little bit more. It felt like an experimental night. Like he went into the Beats lab and was like, let's mess around.
Let's mess around. I think like, okay, he's been playing pretty well since he's come back. Let's see what he can do with increased ice time and better competition. Not much. He's not ready for it yet. That's fine. Keep him in the 3rd pair, maybe the 2nd pair. But yeah, I think it's basically Drysdale. He wasn't ready for that kind of weight on his shoulders. Also, there's a little bit of I hesitate to say breaking news, but there was a Elliot Friedman interview with some guy from Montreal. Have you seen this tweet?
I have not. No.
Okay, it was just posted in the Broad Street Hockey Slack, and I'm like reading through it on Twitter, and apparently Matvei Michkov wanted to go to Philadelphia, and he worked it so that he would get drafted by the Flyers. Like we knew pretty clearly that he had told the Arizona Coyotes, like, don't draft me. I'm not going to play in a college arena. But we never really found out if he said the same thing to any of the other teams, like Montreal or San Jose, I guess, would have been a possibility there. But because like the first 4 picks in that draft, Bedard goes first. Obviously.
Bedard was going first. Like there was no chance in hell that wasn't happening.
And then you had your toss-ups between Adam Fantilli, Leo Carlson, and Will Smith. All of them play center. So because of the positional advantage, like them going before Michkov makes some sense.
Yeah. Like you could argue that Mish could have gone in any of those spots, but like you can't really fault the teams for drafting the guys they did there. No. Montreal's the first team that you can really look at and go, what were you thinking?
Yeah. So apparently Elliot Friedman is saying Michkov worked it and he got himself to Philly. So he loves us.
He really loves us. Oh, I love that. I love that so much. And you can tell, like, he was beaming. He's the anti-Cutter Gauthier.
Yeah, he's like, he wants to be here, right? Oh God, you love it. It's so fun to have him on this team, man. It's so good.
I want him to just dominate in the Ducks and the Sharks games on this upcoming road trip, on the Disney on Ice trip, because like I want to just shove it in Gauthier's face. And no offense to Macklin Celebrini, he seems like a fine lad, but like I want a Calder winner. The Flyers have never had a Calder winner. I want it so bad, and I want Michkov to just dominate in that matchup. Like I want it so bad.
I know. I mean, Celebrini's sick though. Like
Celebrini's fantastic. I actually have nothing against Celebrini. Like, do I wish I had him? Absolutely. He's the one guy I won't be mad about.
Yeah, if he wins, like, I get it. He plays the center. He has almost caught Michkov in scoring and has played many fewer games because he was out with injury. Like, I get it. But it would be nice to see the Flyers get a Calder winner. Shane Gostisbehere was robbed, obviously. We all know that.
Obviously, yeah.
Yeah. Was it Artemi Panarin for the second time, or what? Who won the Calder
I think it was old Panarin at that point.
Panarin, the first time or the second time?
He was like 25 or something. Yeah, I forget. I have to look this up exactly, but
Yeah.
it's many years ago at this point.
Almost a decade, right? Like 2015,
Jesus Christ.
2015, 16, or 14, 15?
I'm quite old.
Aren't we all?
Why?
I wasn't even following the team back then.
Well, yeah, I know. You're insane.
Sweet summer
You're
child.
absolutely, yeah, you are a sweet summer child. Let's see. I'm looking it up right now. I have to do a control F search, but this is
Oh,
not exciting for the people.
no, it's not. But that's okay. This is Flyperbole, baby. I'm just glad to be here along for the ride at this.
Just glad to be here.
Just happy to be
Smiling
here.
politely. 24 years old Panarin was in 15-16 when he won the Calder.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, wow. How about that? It's funny because, like, if you look at the ages of all the other guys, it's like at the time it was like Huberdeau, 19, McKinnon, 18, Ekblad, 19, Panarin, 24, Austin Matthews, 19. And then it wouldn't be until Kirill the Thrill in 2021 when he wanted a 24 again.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like teenagers or very early 20s.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, he was robbed. And then who won it? I always forget who won it the Lindros year. Oh, was that Timo? Yeah, that's okay. You can't argue with Timo Solani.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I hear he's pretty good.
He's just a legend, just an all-timer, no big deal. It was either, I got to see actually which year was his rookie year, because I know Lindros had a good rookie year, but like, and he finished fourth in Calder voting. That was 92-93.
Wow.
So 92-93 was, it was Timo Solani, who, I mean, the guy's one of the all-timers. Like,
didn't he have like a billion goals that season?
Timo Solani?
76 goals and 132 points.
Yeah.
I mean, no. And then the second and third, Joe Juno and Felix.
Joe Juno, yeah. Joe Gino
and Felix Potvin.
It's crazy though, because like Lindros had 41 goals as a rookie.
That's still pretty good, but I mean, 76. When's the last time someone scored 70 goals?
Oh, it has been a while for that.
It's been a while.
Been a while. Let's see. I'm trying to look at the Calder voting from that year. So Solani had 76. He won 100% of the vote. Joe Juno, as you mentioned, 32 goals, 70 assists. Felix Potvin, Felix the Cat. Oh, that's a good name to draw out right there. And
a goalie.
Eric Lindros finished fourth, but I almost feel like there was some spite there because of his reputation at the time. Because like 75 points as a rookie, 41 goals. I mean, I don't think he should have finished below Potvin, but you can't argue with Joe Juno's numbers. 102 points as a rookie. You know, like
that's
damn. That's the NHL was insane. Like it's crazy to think about rookies scoring 76 goals, 132 points.
We might end up in a situation where there's a goalie in the mix for the Calder again. Dustin Wolf over in Calgary has been basically keeping that team in the mix, even though everyone was like, "Oh yeah, easy road to a top 5 draft pick." So, goalies never get love in those kinds of awards, like the Hart or whatever. But
they definitely don't. But hey, maybe this year. It's an interesting year for that because it seemed like Stankoven was one of the top guys off the bat. But again, Stankoven has like an advantage that none of the other guys have, that he's on a great NHL team.
It's crazy.
That you just wrote a piece for BroadStreetHockey.com about that today.
I did. If you're a subscriber over at BroadStreetHockey.com, I wrote an article about how the Dallas Stars kind of nailed the competitive rebuild. Everyone's like, "Oh, the Flyers don't have enough top picks to get talent," and I'm like, Dallas Stars have one top 10 pick. It's Miro Heiskanen, and they still did all this. And it's like, "Well, yeah, they got lucky drafting," and I'm like, "Nah, getting lucky drafting is finding, Kirill Kaprizov in the 5th round or Jesper Bratt in the 6th round. That's lucky. The Stars just hit their 1st and 2nd round picks consistently. That's doable."
This was something we talked about Wednesday night, but also just a lot of that is taking swings on guys in the later rounds, like not taking like a guy who is going to bottom out. Like the example I used is poor Tyrell Goulbourne. Like that guy never had a chance, but Tyrell Goulbourne is one of the most maligned picks in recent Flyers history because that was a chance for them to take a swing. There were some really good players. We went down the list of players. I think Gensel was one of the guys after
Carter
him at that point.
Verhaeghe, Jake Gensel.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Oh.
some great names, some really good NHLers today. And they were just like, no, we're going to go with this energy guy. We're going to go with Ronaldo too. He wasn't even that. Like I would have taken Ronaldo too over what they got, which was nothing. But like, it was just a very, like you don't draft to get Ronaldo too. Like if you happen to find Ronaldo too, cool beans. He hits guys and he's a fan favorite, but that's it. And he's the only guy with heart. Our leader is Zeke Romaldo. But ultimately, like you got to take swings in the later rounds of the draft, especially because like, why not? Like these guys probably aren't going to be NHLers anyway. Like you expect guys in the first round to be NHLers, maybe the second round, but after that, like it's all a crapshoot anyway. So go big or go home.
I mean, the Flyers, to their credit, I think have started doing that. Like Denver Barkey's a 3rd round pick, and
Denver Barkey.
Maybe he's going to be too small to do this, but like he's got a real chance of being a good NHLer.
Have we considered putting 3 Denver Barkeys in a trench coat and acting like a full-sized NHL player?
I mean, we considered that with the goaltenders as well, putting Erison Fedotov and Kolosov on top of each other and then putting them in net. It's like that Walrus commercial for...
Where the hell would Fedotov go in that mix? That 6'8" monster.
He'd probably be the legs.
I don't want him as the legs. He's insane. It's like unless you're just putting his legs on somebody else's body, because like whatever his brain is doing with his legs, I don't like it because he's just all over the place. I still contend that if he just stood there, like he just went butterfly style and didn't move, he'd have like a 900 save percentage just doing that.
Yeah. Come on, get your shit together there, Fedotov.
Yeah, get your shit together, Fedotov. What are you doing? What's he doing? He's eating Flyer-shaped pretzels up in the press box is what he's doing. Poor bastard. I would like to move on at this point to talk about some of the defensive guys, though.
Yes.
So we mentioned Emil Andrae earlier. There's some news on him earlier today that he was loaned back to the Phantoms. And the NHL is a roster freeze right now until after the holidays, which is so nice of the NHL. I do actually it's nice. Like none of the guys have to basically get worried about getting traded at Christmas, which is a actual nice thing that the NHL does. But the Flyers sent Emil Andrae. They loaned him back to the Phantoms. And it's a move that both makes sense and doesn't. Like, I think to most of us, we thought Emil Andrae's had one of the more impressive defensive seasons for the Flyers this year. Like, as far as like on the back end, like producing for the team. He was really good on the power play. He's made some good plays. He's been chippy. We liked him.
You want
he's
to talk about
out of favor with Torts over the past week, though.
Yeah, you want to talk about Calder eligible players. He's not going to be in the mix, but he would be. You know, he is. This is technically his rookie season, is it not?
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah. I was really hot about this morning when the news came down.
You were fired up.
You
were fired up.
I was fired up. But I've kind of. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? I've talked about this before. I don't have the energy to be mad about every little tinkering move this team makes. Like a couple weeks ago when it was Matvei Michkov on a line with Ant Dick and Ryan Poehling, everybody was like, well, why would you do that? I'm like, this is going to last a week, and then he's going to go back to another line. And what happened? Exactly what I said. Like, it was 4 games maybe, and then they put the lines back together, and I was like, okay, why would I get upset? No, this Andrae thing looks like it's more of a cap move to save some money going into the trade deadline, I guess.
I saw an interesting Blue Sky post from Anthony Mingione who quoted Jordan Hall here, but Mingione said, not quite cap purpose, but Jordan Hall of NBC Sports Philly says it's a move for roster flexibility, according to a source. Flyers only have 12 forwards, so if they need one to come up, they'll have a spot available during the roster freeze. So that makes sense. And it's kind of, part of the problem with this too is that they're insisting on rolling with 3 goaltenders right now because they don't What do they think somebody's claiming Fedotov through waivers? Did they make a promise that they wouldn't send him through waivers? Because like, I think, look, I know he's not like, what's the phrase, a spring chicken, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, he's not.
But
He's
like,
no spring chicken.
he's not the youngest guy, right? Like he's a 28-year-old rookie, but like he's still a guy. I don't like anybody sitting unless they're like Eric Johnson. Like Eric Johnson understood the assignment when he was signed here. Like, I'm going to sit for most of the season. I'm the emergency guy. Goaltenders, that doesn't really happen. Guys don't sit around in the press box. They don't carry 3 goaltenders on most rosters. So I would vastly prefer him playing in Lehigh Valley so Cal Peterson can be the one sitting, because who gives a shit about Cal Peterson, as we said earlier. I want Fedotov to get playing time if he's here. And I don't like him just sitting around doing nothing unless he's like translating for Mishkov and hanging. Unless he's Mishkov's best friend. If he's hanging out with Mishkov right now, you know what? Do whatever you got to do, bro. I understand. But I would prefer him playing, and I think it's kind of crazy to use a roster spot on a goaltender who's not going to play anytime soon.
I mean, Torts said, like, I had this conversation with him, right? Like, when he said publicly, like, Kolosov is the number 2, he's like, I had this conversation with Fedotov, and we're, like, at an equilibrium. We're taking it day by day. If Nick Delorier comes back soon from injured reserve, maybe it forces the issue, and they're like, Ivan, we gotta do something here. Would you accept a conditioning stint? Like, nobody's going to claim him, probably.
Do you think Nick Delorier is actually on injured reserve right now? Like, do you think he's actually injured?
I am sure that, like, if he went to any doctor that was a non-hockey doctor, they would be like, what the hell are you doing? You should never be on the ice again. Like, he takes a beating for a living. Of course he's, like, injured.
You know what I mean, though? Like, it's like when Drysdale was out a couple extra weeks and we're all like, I think he's ready. But
I mean, if he was just using that as, like, study time, it really paid off. He looks a lot better.
Yeah, Nick Delorier doesn't need study time. I think this is more of a minor conspiracy theory on my part, that the Flyers are just like, hey, well, we don't want Nick Delorier playing right now. Let's just shelve him on IR.
I'm here for it. I mean, everybody gets all up in arms when, like, Vegas or Tampa or whoever, like, circumvents the salary cap to
because they're good.
Because they're good to add people at the deadline. And I'm like, if the Flyers want to stash a guy on IR so they can avoid the roster limitations, like the contract limitations, then, like, go for it. Who cares?
I got no problem with it. Yeah.
It's completely irrelevant.
I got no issue with it.
No issue. No, my big thing about Andrae is that I hope it was very clearly expressed to him, like, this is not an indictment of your play. This is purely because of numbers and contracts. Go kick ass in the AHL for like 2 weeks. Once the roster freeze is over, we'll just call you back up. And it's also an opportunity to see if, you know, he got scratched for 3 games, and some of it just from how Torts, like, approached it in discussions and interviews, it was like, maybe there was a bit of an attitude issue there, like a bit of a sulk from Andrae. So maybe they're also using this as an opportunity to be like, go kick ass in the AHL and we'll call you back up soon. And if he sulks through it and is just, like, salty the way Wade Allison was a couple of years ago, maybe that's a sign of something bigger.
I think he's a lot more talented than Wade Allison.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But they did this last season or 2 seasons ago with Bobby Brink. Like, it was last year. Absolutely, yeah, it was last year. They sent him down to the AHL because he'd been struggling with the big club. He played there for like 2-3 weeks, absolutely tore it up, and they called him right back up to the Flyers. Maybe they were just doing that with Andrae as well.
Maybe, I'm not sure, but, like, regardless, I was, when I was talking to Bill last night, I was saying, if he's not going to play with the big club, I don't want him just sitting in the press box. I want him playing. So I'm okay with this because he's going to be playing. And I have a feeling that at some point, if not this year, maybe the offseason, they move one of these defensemen out.
Sure.
And that opens up a spot for a guy like Andrae to have a regular spot. Like, right now they have like a little bit of a too many cooks situation. They seem very hesitant to try and move like Zamula back down or something. And they'd rather have Zamula in there than Eric Johnson, which I get. Sure. I don't love Zamula, but Johnson's cooked, you know, he just is. And again, Johnson knows his role. Johnson understands the assignment here, but Andrae, you know, I think he should be in that lineup every night, frankly. But if they have a few too many bodies, they need something to work out. Play him with the Phantoms for now. and hopefully he can become an NHL regular for this team down the line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm cool with him going to the Phantoms. I wish he was up here. The other thing is Cam York was in the Torts doghouse for a night, and
Oof,
rightfully so. He had a couple really bad games. I wish he had done it in like the Detroit game instead of the LA game. Like really kind of handicapped himself in that game in a few regards, but whatever. Eat Arby's this year. And this podcast brought to you by Arby's. It's not horse meat. I'm kidding. We're perfectly fine with an Arby's. What's the big beef or whatever? Who cares? Big Montana.
Yeah. I don't think I could tell you the last time I ate at an Arby's. Like it has to be at least like 10 or 15 years ago.
Emily loves some Arby's. We don't eat it a lot, but every now and then we'll get an Arby's. And you know what? It's fine. I know it's got a bad reputation. I always think of The Simpsons where those the twin girls are like, ew, Arby's, like something like that. And there's a lot of jokes, but you know what? It's fine. It's fast food.
I hear they have the meats.
They do have the meats. That's true.
Did you know that Arby's is named because it was the letter RB for roast beef? Like that's where
I didn't actually know
where
that.
Arby's comes from. Is like I forget where I read this, but it was originally like the letter R and the letter B apostrophe S or something.
Oh,
roast beefs or something.
Wow.
And now it's just ARBY for Arby's or something. It was something like that. Something silly.
I will say I'll give them the curly fries at bare minimum. The curly fries, fuck. I'll give the curly fries credit there. But Arby's aside, getting back to Cam York. So Cam York benched for a game after having a couple rough games over there. And he should be, I assume he's going to be back in the lineup now after Andrae was sent down.
Better be.
This Columbus game is a very good opportunity for this team to bounce back and really dominate. And I know Columbus beat the Devils last night, which was really impressive.
Love it.
Columbus still sucks. So, they suck. Come on.
Okay.
They have less points than the Flyers. They suck.
Okay. Yeah.
If you have less points than the Flyers, you suck. That's how I'm judging this season.
Okay.
They suck. Who do they have? They have Werenski,
Adam Fantilli, Kent Johnson, Kirill Marchenko.
I'm not buying Kent Johnson.
Oh, really?
His name's Kent Johnson. I'm not buying that.
Dmitry Voronkov.
Sure.
And that's probably it's all forwards. That's the thing. They don't have a lot of.
It's Werenski and that's it.
Demon Severson, Ivan Provorov. He ain't it either.
Big thumbs down.
Big thumbs down. Yeah. This could be.
That's a good bounce back team right there. That's a team. They kicked their ass like a couple weeks ago, and this is a good opportunity for York to get back in there. Let's fix the defensive pairings. No more of whatever that was in the Kings game.
Brutal. Or this is an opportunity for like a 4-point swing in the draft lottery.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Dude, I'm just rolling with whatever happens. Okay. Like I'm not thinking about the draft lottery, but I'm also not thinking too much about the playoffs. This is because the team could be either. This could be a bottom 5 team. This team could make the playoffs in the last spot.
It's almost out of their hands because the rest of the Eastern Conference is such a disaster. Like the Rangers are in free fall. The Buffalo
Gotta love that.
The Sabres have lost 11 straight.
Has it been 11 straight?
It's 11 straight.
Oh my God. We're actually going to talk about the Sabres in a couple minutes, and I'm excited. That's 11 straight. Oh man. I'd hate to take advantage of that.
I would hate to take advantage of that team. They've had so much, but let's see. Yeah, so Rangers are in free fall. Sabres have lost 11 straight. The Ottawa Senators are in a playoff position right now because they've won 5 in a row.
Oh wow.
Oh wow. That
one's not totally shocking to me, given that team actually should have been a playoff team last year. Like they have, I mean, Claude Giroux's killing it again for them. Brady Tkachuk's awesome. Like they have some really, really good players on that team.
Tim Stützle.
I love Tim Stützle. He rocks.
God, I'd give up pretty much anything on this roster except for like Michkov and Konechny to get Tim Stützle, but
get me Tim Stützle and Brady Tkachuk and Claude Giroux, and I'm a happy boy.
God, imagine. Anyway, no. So the Flyers, it's kind of out of their hands. Like if they just are a Hockey 500 team, they're going to be a Hockey 500 team. But if the other Eastern Conference teams around them just continue to flounder, they could stumble their way into the playoffs, kind of like how the Capitals did it last season with a minus what was their goal differential? It was like minus 60 or something crazy like
Yeah,
that.
it was really crazy.
Real
I
bad.
truly don't understand that entire franchise right now. Yeah, the Flyers, I mean, it's also going to depend on, offensive consistency. The power play's been bad lately. Like they really have to get the power play fixed. They have to get the power kill fixed too. Like the special teams are a disaster right now.
Not very special.
Need more offensive consistency. I thought the defensive pairings had settled into a nice groove for a little bit, but then York went a little bit of a skid. I'm hoping York can bring some stability coming back into the lineup. I think he's going to come back strong. I really like Cam York. And the goaltending. If Sam Ersson can be healthy and consistent as the starter, I think the Flyers will win a decent amount of games in the coming weeks. But that's a big if right now.
Do you think Rocky Thompson has a job in January?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't think he's going anywhere because, I think you could make the argument that for the past 2 years, Tortorella's had this team playing above their capability. In fact, I would say the entirety of Tortorella's time here, this team's played better than they should. And well, maybe not his first year, but the last 2 years, he's had them playing better than they should. And Rocky Thompson, I don't know. I feel like he likes his crew, he likes his guys, and I think it's going to take a lot to get one of those guys fired at this point, unless they're getting another job somewhere.
Yeah, no, it's probably an off-season move, but
if it I'm very doubtful it happens at this point.
You've got Michkov here, who, to be fair, is not single-handedly going to fix the power play. But you have enough players.
He's made it a lot better than last year, though.
Better, but it's still only operating at 16%.
Oh yeah, it's bad.
That's bad.
Well, especially when teams are headhunting Michkov and taking penalties because of it. You got to make them pay.
For sure. And then, this team, sure, it lacks some true top-end talent, but it's not devoid of talent. They should be able to at least have an average power play. I don't understand why this is just such a mess all the time.
And it seems like a coaching thing to me.
It seems like a coaching thing, which is
it seems like a scheme thing. And I would personally love to replace him. I need a good power play in Philadelphia so bad. And they have guys who should be able to play the power play competently. Obviously you have Michkov. Konechny is a great talent. Owen Tippett's a great talent. Those guys should. And Couturier's had success in the past on the power play.
Bobby Brink looks great on the power play.
Bobby Brink is
to cook.
He's a great creative playmaker. I really like Bobby Brink in the offensive zone. I hate him in the defense, but the offensive zone I like him. And even Morgan Frost has his moments. Tyson Forster can score. We saw that last night. He has good offensive sense. He's a good two-way player. Tyson Forster could be a real asset out there too. So, there's got to be a way to do it. And I just think the coaching staff has not shown a propensity for the power play. And it comes down to Rocky at this point.
Yep. I mean, I think this would have to be his last year. Unless, of course, they go on a heater for the rest of the season, which you never know.
It wouldn't surprise me. Nothing about this team surprises me at this point. They're Jekyll and Hyde. They could be anything on a given night.
I mean, last year in February, they made the Gauthier trade and got Drysdale. I don't think that made a major boost to the power play, but maybe they make some kind of hockey trade before the deadline and it boosts their power play. You never know.
Yeah. Well, then that brings me to the final segment of the night. And before we get into this, a quick, I don't know if it's an apology, but I guess a quick show note. Typically around this time of year, I like to do the Christmas movie challenge where I will present a Hallmark movie and a fake movie that I've come up with and have the co-host try to guess which is which. I have not gathered that yet this year, so I may do it Monday at Festivus, which, by the way, come down to Festivus over at the pub at Xfinity Live. It used to be Bullies. It is being co-hosted BSH and PHLY. So all your favorites are going to be there. It is going to be a good old time. Please come out and watch Flyers Penguins. We're going to have a blast, folks.
Sure.
I may do it there. I may just do regular old Flyperbole next week. I might do a special edition with just the Christmas movie challenge. We'll see, but it's going to happen, folks. Just not today. But I have come up with a fun little segment to end the show this week where I want to talk about what's on the Flyers Christmas wish list. And granted, they can't get any of this stuff for Christmas because there's a trade freeze on at this point. But you know, what do our little Flyers want in their heart of hearts here? And I've got a few different categories here, and I've called the tops here a pony. Okay. Which is essentially like when your kid asks for something fantastical that they're not going to get. And that's what I'm thinking of here. That's what I'm thinking of as a pony. So what's something that the Flyers like would ask for that there's no, and I'm not talking McDavid, because McDavid's like, I'm asking for a trip to Mars.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't even think about it, kid. But there's an off chance that I could get a pony. And I think the pony here would be somebody like Quentin Byfield.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, my pony is Tim Stützle. Like I bring him up all the time. He's like,
awesome.
He's the peak. Also, the Vancouver Canucks are kind of in like, they're in the playoffs right now, right? Yeah, but they've lost 2 in a row. The vibes are bad. I don't want to even say rumblings, but like Elias Pettersson doesn't have trade protection until this summer. So like maybe
that fits the exact definition of what we're calling a pony here. So yeah. Elias Pettersson, Santa, bring me a fresh Elias Pettersson this Christmas. I'm into that.
Yeah, that would be Santa baby. Yeah.
Give me a little Pettersson under the tree. A Byfield, a Pettersson. Essentially, we need elite talent at center wherever we can get it. And I think it's been accelerated because, like, I was willing to be patient before I saw Mishkov in a Flyers uniform. The second I saw Mishkov in a Flyers uniform, I'm like, oh my God, this guy needs talent to play with him. Because guys, when Mishkov is really on top of his game, guys can't keep up with him.
No.
He's doing shit that people can't even like conceptualize. Like the only guys who can really keep up with him are Tippett and Konechny.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Coots, but not from a speed perspective, more just like a
mental
IQ perspective. Yeah.
Chestnut checkers perspective, if you
Correct.
will. Yeah. And I want, like, obviously elite center talent is difficult to find in the NHL, especially today. But wherever you can try and get it, like, I think you got to take some swings at some point, especially with the winger capital you have and the draft capital. I mean, when we talk about a lot of mock trades in the BSH Slack these days, and we will throw around one of the first round picks next year. I think Joel Farabee gets thrown into every one of these deals at this point. And I love the Bees. I love the Mojo Dojo Casa House or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Mojo. But like, he's clearly like kind of the odd man out as far as what they're looking at for the future and who's like your pivotal Flyers of the future here.
Even though he is the only natural left winger on the roster currently, which is still no, I mean,
it's wild. They have a ton of right wingers, but right
wingers. We've talked about it before on the BSH podcast, but like the Jack Eichel trade, sure, special circumstances. He was correct to advocate for himself and go to Vegas where they'd let him get the surgery he needed. But ultimately, Vegas gave up a first-round pick, a second-round pick. Alex Tuch, who is a good player, not a great player, but a good player, and then a young prospect with pedigree in Peyton Krebs. Like, if a center of that caliber becomes available, the Flyers have more than enough assets to go after it. So I'll pitch this question to you. If the Flyers trade Ristolainen for a first-round pick, do you want it in the 2025 draft or the 2026 draft?
I thought this year's draft was supposed to be better than last year's, but now I'm hearing it's not that deep. So are we talking 2026? Is 2026 better at this point?
I'm not even thinking on a prospect term, but by having a first-round pick next year, that means if a center becomes available, you have an extra pick in next year's draft to trade.
That's fair.
Because if you end up making all 3 of your picks this summer, then you're only left with your own pick, or 4 picks if they get a first for Risto in 2025. Then you only have your own pick going into 2026. So if you trade for a future first-round pick, it kind of kicks the can down the road. You have a bit more flexibility. Like at this past year's draft, they traded their first round pick with the Oilers for this year's first round pick. So maybe just having that draft capital and pushing it back down the road allows you to wait for a better trade or a better player to become available. So
Okay.
I would push for the 2026 pick personally, not even just because of the draft itself, but just having that asset later so that it's gives some more flexibility with the trade. As far as
You've talked me into it. You've convinced me.
as far as top line centers go, in the interview with Keith Jones over at The Athletic, Keith Jones has said before there are only about a dozen or so true top line number one centers in the NHL. How is it necessary to have one of those 12 to 14 guys who win a Stanley Cup? And he said it seems to be reality. They're really important parts of the puzzle. There have been teams along the way that have done it without one, like St. Louis or Carolina back in the day. You just have to have a bit of luck and get your guys in a place and develop through your system. And it's a tough challenge. Look, Rupe Hintz is the top line center of the Dallas Stars. He was a second round pick. Braden Point for the Lightning was a third round pick. Like, it's not impossible to find these guys in later rounds. So
Yeah.
just if you have the right systems in place to maximize their potential, and I think the Flyers have improved in that regard over the past like 3 or 4 years, it's possible. I'm not ruling it out entirely.
Yeah. And we don't know what Jet Luchenko is going to be. I don't think he's, I don't know if he's necessarily going to be like an elite first line guy. I think his ceiling's probably like a very good second line center, which is a great thing to have, frankly.
There is.
But regardless, like he's at least an interesting part of the puzzle over the next few years. Luchenko makes it interesting, but I still think you need that number one guy. And just like the thought of Matvei Michkov playing with a truly talented center of some sort, a Pedersen, a Byfield, like somebody with that potential is amazing to think about. Somebody who can give him room. I would even take like an experienced like vet who's still effective or something, like just somebody. I'm even intrigued by somebody like Larkin, who's like an older, younger player,
I love Dylan Larkin. Dylan Larkin.
The Detroit Red Wings are a mess. They're a total mess. I'd love to take advantage of that too. But this brings me to the next category, which I've titled the Red Ryder BB gun. Okay.
I was going to say veteran center. You've got one on the list there.
I do. So the Red Ryder BB gun, of course, is from A Christmas Story. And essentially it's like, it's attainable. I might not, I probably wouldn't count on it being under your Christmas tree, but it's something attainable. Okay. And Marco Rossi is a name that's been floated around. He's on the trade board right now, and it's not because of his play. He's a very good player on a very good team, but Marco Rossi is a guy who just his contract situation is a little iffy with the Minnesota Wild right now.
Yeah.
And he might not necessarily have the size that you're looking for, but the guy can play. The guy can puck.
Absolutely.
And I would love to get a guy like that on the Flyers.
Yeah. All of this always, to me, comes down to cost of acquisition. If you can get one of these players without giving up a haul, you absolutely make that move. But if it's going to cost you like 2 of your top 6 roster players to make it happen, then like that's not quite
right.
doable.
Yeah. Like I'm in for a smart move, but like something where you're taking like, like you have to be very smart about these assets for the future because
or just a balanced trade. Like even the Ivan Provorov trade, that worked out pretty well for all 3 teams involved. The Flyers got their future assets. They filled a need at right shot defense with Sean Walker. They needed someone with NHL experience in goal because the Carter Hart situation was still up in the air. So they were like, well, we have all this cap space. Let's get Cal Peterson. LA got out from under that contract. And then Columbus got a top 4 defenseman that they desperately needed. And Flyers got Helge Grans, who looked okay in his like short stint up in the NHL. So
I enjoyed those couple games of Helge. Yeah.
It worked out pretty well for all of the teams involved in that deal. We just have to hope that something else like that comes along in the near future. When does the trade freeze lift? Is that in January?
December 28th.
Oh, it's only till after Christmas. Okay.
Yeah, it's literally like just so guys can enjoy their Christmas, basically.
And not worry about getting traded on like Christmas Day. Okay, that's fair. That's fine.
But New Year's Day is fine.
Yeah. New Year's is New Year's is fair game.
New Year's is fair game. Like you're counting down. You got that countdown, the 10, 9, 8. You got the ball dropping, and it's like you've been traded.
You were talking about obtainable players. I will raise you. What about obtageable players?
Oh, baby, good night and good hockey on that note. You know what? I respect it. I respect the game there, the pun game. Obtageable players. Yeah, so we talked earlier about how the Sabres are in free fall right now. 11 straight losses. This was a team that was expected to push for a playoff spot last year, and obviously they're not in that position right now. And they have a ton of great young talent that they're just squandering. So why squander that great young talent when you can send it to play with Matvei Michkov and the Philadelphia Flyers?
Yeah, they've got the Maple Leafs tonight, so this could become 12. However, I will say Matt Murray is starting for the Toronto Maple Leafs after I
can't believe he's still in the league.
I can't believe he's getting a start. But Stoli, the goalie, is out with injury for 4 to 6 weeks, so they kind of need to play him.
I'm going to write a buddy comedy about Cal Peterson and Matt Murray going on the road together.
Oh God, wouldn't that be incredible?
Yeah, it's called Losers.
Losers. Got him.
So Tage Thompson is a big boy. He is the center of Flyers fans' dreams right there. Okay, I'm talking old school Flyers fans. 6'6", 220. The guy is friggin' huge. Okay, 27 years old. So not the youngest, not the oldest. He has 16 goals, 9 assists, 25 points this year. That's pretty good. And he's really come on in the last couple years. Last year, he had 29 goals. Year before that, 47 goals. Year before that, 38 goals. So the guy can score goals. He can clear space. This could be a nice fit with Matvei Michkov if the Flyers could make something work.
Man, a Michkov, Konechny, Thompson line would be outrageously good because Konechny is we see him as a goal scorer. He's one of the best setup guys in the league.
Oh yeah,
which is crazy. So if you have Konechny setting up Tage and Michkov, holy.
PK Subban when he was just gushing over the Flyers last night, he was, oh my God, half that broadcast, he's like, oh man, he was just losing his mind over the Flyers, which is crazy because then they got smoked. But he was talking about Konechny, if he was on another team, a more talented team, basically, people would be talking about him all the time because he does have those skills. The fact that Konechny puts up these numbers on the Flyers who don't really have elite scoring talent outside of, the three guys we mentioned, him, Michkov and Tippett, is pretty amazing. I've always talked about if you put him on the Toronto Maple Leafs or something, he'd probably be Mitch Marner on that team.
Yeah. My preseason hot take was that Travis Konechny would pace for 100 points this year. He might not get there. He missed his time with injury the past 2 seasons, but he's damn close. I think he's pacing for 95 right now. He's almost there. And that contract that he got looking a lot better by the day. As far as the Sabres go, the other player available would be Dylan Cousins, or not available, I should say, but that you would want to target.
Yeah, a player we've talked about before as potentially the Flyers trading for. And again, I don't think the Sabres are giving these guys up.
No
I'd be surprised if they did. But at some point, something's got to give with this team because this team was this is supposed to be it, right? This is supposed to be when they were shifting into the next gear, and it ain't it.
No. I don't know, man. Maybe bringing Lindy Ruff back to be your coach again was not the greatest offseason.
Dude, you want to talk about somebody who just needs to retire already? It's Lindy Ruff. It's absolutely Lindy Ruff. He's been doing this a million years, and he just needs to stop. He just needs to go home, go to the lake, and chill out. Cousins is big, but not Tage Thompson big. He's 6'3", 195.
But he's
and he does not score. He is younger, but he doesn't score like Tage Thompson either. But he's only 23, so maybe he could. I don't know.
Yeah. Also, as far as contracts go, both of them have pretty 7.1 million about for each of them. If the cap is projected to go up as much as we're thinking it will go up, those could be steals. But the term on there, you're is it going to be good enough? Also, I just looked it up.
Well, Cousins is only 23.
Yeah. Tage Thompson's face-off percentage is real bad. He's like a 40% face-off guy. So I don't know if that's
I was gonna say we could fix that, but I saw Couturier get completely destroyed on a face-off the other night, so I don't know about that.
It was Kopitar. Kopitar is pretty good at those.
It was that was nuts because that was the goal off the face-off, right? That was like to the point and immediately scored. Like I have never seen Couturier get beat on a face-off like that. That was terrible.
It was bad. Yeah. Meanwhile, Cousins has a 49% face-off percentage this year. So, I don't know. I guess it's what you value.
I guess so. I would love some goal scoring. I would love some goal scoring and some size. That would be cool because, like, I think if you get a guy like Thompson, for instance, and you then have Jet Luchenko as your number 2 center and then Sean Couturier as your number 3, all of a sudden you look awesome down the middle because you've got a friggin' huge guy up on the top playing with your elite talent. And then you've got Luchenko, who we've seen to be a positive play driver and very smart hockey sense for his age, like unbelievable for his age. So you've really got that. And then Sean Couturier, I call him Mr. Chestnut Checkers for a reason. Or if you're the AI that generates the closed captioning for StreamYard, it's Mr. Chestnut Checkers. Run that one by me.
I keep hearing him as the Pokemon Chestnut. Like I've shown you pictures of Chestnut before, and like that's every time you say Chestnut Checkers, I just picture like this Pokemon with
not checkers.
Yeah, I just picture this Pokemon with a Couturier face. But speaking of Pokemon, how about the Pokemon video games and what that would look like for Christmas if it were a Flyers?
There we go. It's a shame Ryan Quigley's not here. Pokemon's not getting mentioned. He loves some Pokemon. But yes, video games is my third category because that was a common gift that I got growing up. I always got like my video game of the year, and it was always delightful. I kind of missed the physical media in that regard. Getting a disc was a thrilling thing. And
unwrap it, it was great.
A fun fact, my family would get me like the guides too, like the guidebooks to the game. And often I would accidentally open the guidebook before the game. And then like
spoilers.
Yeah. And I would always like make a commentary about it that like my family wanted to strangle me about, where I'd be like, whoa, I don't have this game. Does this mean I'm getting this game? Like, shut up, you little bastard.
My parents, if there were gifts of that, they would be like, no, open that one first.
And it's on them. But I also have 2 sisters, so they were distracted. There's too much going on. Yeah, too much going on, and I'm really quick in unwrapping gifts. Give me. I'm a greedy bastard.
What is our video game standard gift for the Flyers? I think we talked about it already too.
We have talked about it, but like Rasmus Ristolainen trade.
Yeah.
Back to the Buffalo Sabres.
Imagine.
Ristolainen has in the past 2 years. His stock has risen dramatically. When we were talking a couple years ago, it couldn't have been lower. We were like, this guy stinks. He's never going to get better. All he is big. That's all he is. He doesn't even hit. I hate him. And now it's like, oh, he's actually a pretty good player. Like, I don't think he's a top pair defender.
No,
I think he's actually a really solid second line guy at this point.
He is.
Especially if you have a good partner. We've seen him with Travis Sanheim be very good. Sealer, he's fine with. Zamula. I'm trying to think who else he's played with this year.
Andre.
So, like, when you have him with a good partner, like, Risto's a really good guy. Like, he's been getting better at clearing the crease. His hits have gotten more noticeable. He's not doing Robert Haig micro hits anymore. He's getting in there.
It doesn't take him out of the play either. That was the big problem, is that he'd go for the hit and it would take him away from the play.
Yeah.
Also, I would also posit that it's not that he's playing with good players. It's that he is keeping those pairs together, because no matter who he's played with, his numbers have looked good.
Yeah.
Like he is, I hesitate to say anchor because that makes him sound like not a good thing, but he is anchoring the second pair right now. It's no matter who his partner is, he's able to keep that pair above water, which is great.
Yeah. Somehow the anchor is keeping them above water. It's like an anti-anchor. The anti-gravity anchor, Rasmus Ristolainen.
Anti-anchor.
Anti-anchor.
Yeah.
But no, like I see what you mean. Like anchor could mean something very bad for defense. Like he's just keeping them back. He's slow and old and terrible. But
Yeah.
in this case, it actually means a good thing. It means he's reliable. It means he's
Right.
dependable.
Exactly.
And I agree with you. I really can't believe this, but like he is like a good player. And I know I kind of have this revelation every week now, but it is like that's stunning to me. And all of a sudden he becomes a valuable trade asset. I mean,
Yeah.
he's got, is it 2 more years on that contract or 1 more year? Two. So he's got 2 more years on the contract. Again, way too long. The Flyers probably have to retain some salary if they make a deal.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, because if the cap is going to go up that much, they might not have to.
Well, I would like that. I hate retaining salary. So I'm a big fan of not retaining salary. So if they don't have to retain salary, and what's your, like, do you think at this point they need a first to move Ristolainen, or do you think like a second and like a good prospect will do?
It depends on the prospect. My thought process is because he has 2 more years on the deal, they are not compelled to move him. It's not like he's going to walk for nothing in the summer.
Right. Like somebody's got to wow you if you're Dan Briere.
If you want this player, you got to make me an offer because I don't have to move him. He's playing well for our team. We're in the middle of a playoff race just because like he's helping our second pair stabilize. I'm not trying to just get rid of him. Yeah. So
right, you don't have to.
No, we don't have to. So if you want him, you got to pay up.
You really got to wow me here.
You got to wow me.
Yeah. Wow me.
I was trying to pull it up on Hockey Viz, but for some reason the page isn't working. Oh, there it goes. So on Hockey Viz, they have the SG chart, which is like synthetic goals. It's a kind of an amalgam stat that like tries to measure a player's impact and whether they're like a third pair defenseman or a second line forward. Rasmus Ristolainen, for most of his career, was a sub third pair defenseman by SG. Last year, he was a second pair defenseman, and for most of this year, he grades out as a first pair defenseman, which is crazy to think about. And you can see just the steady climb of the chart from like third pair defenseman. His worst season was his first year here. That 21-22 season was his worst year of his career. And then ever since then, he's just gotten bit by bit. He's gotten a little better. So
almost there, bud. Now it is truly miraculous. Like I really would not mind if he stayed here the entire length of his contract at this point. Yeah. But that said, if you can get some good assets for him, go ahead and do that. So yeah, that is a thing that actually has potential to happen. I'm doubtful it happens at the trade deadline, but a player like that is a very valuable chip at the trade deadline. And if a team is like convinced that he can get them over the top, they might be willing to give up a ton. Do the Minnesota Wild need a right-handed defenseman?
They just got one, David Jiricek.
Oh, that's right. They did get Jiricek. Yeah, so never mind.
Dallas
I don't forget about that.
And also Buffalo does. So Buffalo and Dallas and Vancouver.
All right, Buffalo. Tage Thompson, bring Rasmus home. We're all golden.
We're all golden. I love it.
All golden, right there. And then finally, our last category is the most boring of all: socks. People get socks. They're like, cool, great.
Cool.
So socks is the most boring. And I think the most boring thing the Flyers could get that would help the team, but be very boring, a third line center.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. They have an abundance of fourth line centers. Couturier, you could argue, is like a second at this point in his career. So, you know, I would hope, frankly, that the answer for third line center is currently here, and we've seen it over the past couple of weeks. And
Noah Cates has looked pretty good.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Noah Cates, because Noah Cates, he scored another goal, a great goal, by the way, a highlight reel goal against the Kings. And I want Noah Cates to work out. I don't want them to move any assets to get like a third line center. And you know, we have enough socks. We don't need any more socks. Okay. Right. And I just want to ride it out with the crew this year, unless you're getting like an exciting name like the guys we talked about at the top here. It's so fascinating because like there are so many areas they can upgrade, but like it's not worth it to move assets to upgrade for anything outside of an elite center, because I would say you could argue that for defensemen, but like, I don't know. I like a lot of the crew they have, and a lot of them are young enough that it's you could just build towards it. And I feel like you can also draft really good defensemen throughout the first round.
Yes.
So with your 3 picks this year, you can probably find a solid defenseman in there.
I've talked about this at length with Gilbs, and I have written about it at Broad Street Hockey. The Flyers need a center more than anything else. They can do the defense by committee. Would it be nice to get a Victor Hedman level defenseman? Yeah, but like,
yeah. But if you have 3 solid pairs, honestly, I think that's almost better than having one great guy and a bunch of crap. Like if the Flyers gotten Shea Weber back in 2014, like 3 solid pairs really makes you a very strong team.
What happens when that one guy gets injured? The whole thing falls apart. Like
Chris Pronger. That's literally Chris Pronger with the Flyers in like 2012, 13, 14. Right. They were expecting Chris Pronger to be the guy for a few more years, even with his age. And once he got injured, they were just screwed. They tried to get Shea Weber and it didn't work out. And listen, Chemo Timo did as much as he could. He was awesome. But Chemo Timo was not Chris Pronger at the end of the day. And if they had built a stronger defense behind Chemo Timonen, that team might have been able to do more. They did not.
Yep. And as it stands, I'd say this team has 3 number 2 defensemen, at least in the pipeline. Like Sanheim right now, he's pushing for that number 1. Like he had a bad game last night, but for the most part, like the past year and a half, he has been outstanding.
He's been awesome. I really love what I've seen from him. And I think he could be like, is he an ideal number 1? No, but like, I think he could be a number 1, especially if you have like everybody else is good behind him.
Cam York, I think, is a top pair guy when he hits his ceiling. Number 1? No, probably not. But a number 2? Yeah, for sure. Oliver Bonk on the way is probably going to be an impact level defenseman.
Bonk.
I don't know. Bonk. I don't know if he gets to like the top pair level, but he's going to be pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Emil Andrae has impressed. There's still potential for Jamie Drysdale. Like, I am comfortable enough with their defensive system, and I'm not just trading for a second pair guy. That would be sucks for me as well. Like, oh, yeah, cool, we got a second pair defenseman. Great, we have like 4 of those guys. So,
folks, we have Rasmus Ristolainen, Igor Zamula, Emil Andrae, Jamie Drysdale at home, Nick Seeler. We have all those guys. We have a ton of third line players. We have a ton of second line players. Like, there's no need to go out and get a Nate Thompson and a Derek Grant this year, you know? And I truly believe that this team doesn't believe in making those kind of moves for how the team is currently made up. Like, I actually loved in that same Athletic article with Jonesy, you mentioned the other day with Kevin Kurz and Keith Jones, when they asked Jonesy about the backup goalie position, because I agree with their philosophy this year of just letting it ride and see who plays out. Because why not? That's being realistic about your team, you know, being realistic about the fact that this team ain't winning a cup. So let's just see how things ride out. There's no need to trade future assets to just get a little better, sneak into the playoffs, get whooped by the Hurricanes, and call it a day.
Yeah. And there are enough players on this roster right now that are due new contracts this summer. Let me run through who is due a new contract this summer real quickly. Noah Cates needs a new contract. Morgan Frost, if he's staying with the team, needs a new contract.
That's a rough one right there.
Tyson Forster needs a new contract. Cam York needs a new contract. Like, these...
Yorkie's going to get paid. I can tell you now. Yorkie's going to get paid. I don't know if it's going to be a lot, but like, I think he might get some term. I think that they like York. I feel good about what York's going to get. Morgan Frost, I got no clue. And if you know, you're a psychic, because there's no way otherwise. Forrester, I think, is the most interesting one of the bunch.
Yeah, I'm hoping that they get York locked up to something similar to the Sanheim contract. So like, I don't know, maybe $6.5 million a year for 8 years, 7. I'd even go for like 7, maybe. We'll see how the rest of the season
just because of his age, and if you can get him locked down with the term, with the cap going up before you have to pay him more down the line. Like, I'm into that. Tyson
Forster, I mean, this team is going to have to bet on its young players at some point. So, like, we've seen it in Buffalo. I know they're not the greatest example. We've seen it in Ottawa as well. but they
But we
gave
were just
out.
talking about taking these guys' contracts off their
I
hands.
know.
So, we clearly don't have a problem with these guys. I think it's just how they built around these guys. Like, I think
Sure.
the idea to sign these guys to the contracts they did at the time was a good one.
Yeah, they bet
It's
on
just,
their core. They bet on their young players.
yeah, but they didn't give them anything additionally. I mean, hell, we've seen that here in Philadelphia. Claude Giroux was his name. Jake Voracek, Wayne Simmons, like they bet on those guys, but then they didn't build the supporting cast around them right.
Nope. So I don't have a problem with paying those guys. Tyson Forrester will be interesting. I would give York I 7 a year for 8 years. Does that seem like too much? Or would you do that deal? Or is that too much right now? Like
7 a year for Forrester?
for York.
For York, a 7 a year for York, I would consider. It seems like a bit much. I would prefer in the 6 range, like,
Sure.
but
6.75.
I would consider it. It feels expensive right now, but it's one that I think in 2 years we'll be saying is a fine deal.
We really need to readjust like what our idea of an expensive contract is, because if the cap is going to go up this summer regardless, and there's talks about renegotiating the CBA early and adding another like 3 or 4 million to the cap this summer. So if that's the case, then some of these contracts could look real good down the line.
Yeah, they really could.
I do want to play a quick little game here
Okay.
called Naughty or Nice.
Okay, I'm into it. Let's do it.
I know we're going a little long, but why not?
This is Flyperbole. We go long, baby. That's what we do. Bow, 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 bow.
Okay, I'm just going to go down the Flyers roster, and you are going to say naughty or nice. Okay,
Ooh.
like have they made the naughty or nice list?
Okay.
You ready?
All right.
Sean Couturier.
I'm gonna say nice. He's doing all he can for what he is.
He's dropped the gloves a couple times this season.
I think he's been a good leader on this team. I think he's been a fine. He's playing as well as he can given his limitations with his injuries and everything. So he makes my nice list.
And they're not like giving him 30 minutes a night, so that helps. Owen Tippett.
Owen Tippett. He was naughty until like 2 weeks ago.
I was gonna say, like, if you'd asked me a week or two ago, I'd have been like naughty, but
naughty boy. No, he's making the nice list at this point, but barely. Like he might get like one transformer, but it's not gonna be Optimus Prime.
He gets video games. That's probably about it.
I don't know if he's even getting video games. Like he's getting like Bumblebee. All right,
brutal.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that goal he scored.
The goal was sick. He's actually, and he's played well with Mishkov and Frost in recent weeks.
Right.
This week doesn't really count for that, but he did have a point in the Kings game. So, which,
keep that going. Travis Konechny.
Konechny, nice, easily.
Nice, absolutely.
He's been awesome. Travis Konechny's been. I mean, I was saying this before the season. Like, you probably have like 2 more years of Travis Konechny being like the best player on the Flyers, and he's been outstanding. I mean, the numbers show it right there. He's easily their best offensive player.
And that $8.75 million a year contract is going to look mighty nice.
A lot of people were complaining about that contract, but I was a fan. Like, I thought it was a slight overpayment, but like, again, with the cap going up, you got to pay that for guys like that. And he's great. He's great. He is a Flyer.
Yeah. And that was before we knew that the cap might be going up more this summer than was originally intended. So that's good. Joel Farabee.
He's naughty list.
He's
right
on
there.
the naughty
list. I want so much more from Joel Farabee. I want Joel Farabee to be awesome. Like, I want him to live up to the promise that like Claude Giroux said to us when he was leaving, like, watch out for Joel Farabee. This is the guy. And I've always believed in his talent. I want Joel Farabee to be one of the best Flyers. I want him to be indispensable. And he's absolutely not at this point.
It's just so frustrating because he gets so many chances and they just don't go in. Like,
it is so frustrating. And I want to just see him do more. I really like Joel Farabee. I want him to be better.
He's also been, from a fancy stats perspective, pretty goddamn good since like the end of November.
Is that right?
Yeah. He's had a couple of stinkers in there, but like in the Detroit game that they lost, he had a 77.9 expected goals for percentage. Like, he's constantly in the 50s and 60s. Like, they just aren't going in. But
it's not going in.
Okay. I also say naughty list. Scott Lawton.
He's gonna make the nice list because he's like Sean Couturier, where I think he's doing the best he can. He's just not that good. Like
The dick trick gets him in for me. That's it.
Yeah, the dick trick was great. I think he's had a couple other pretty good moments this year. I think he had a 2-goal game against the Kraken earlier this year. So he's done some good stuff. I think he plays fine for what he is, but what he is a fourth liner at this point. And he's a big leader on the team, good guy. He makes the nice list, but he's not. It's with limitations.
With asterisk.
Big asterisk, yeah.
Noah Cates.
Another just like Owen Tippett until this week, he's like an easy naughty list. Like what have you done for me lately? But
we're so easily swayed.
He's done a lot for me lately. I mean, he's having a killer week right now. He's barely making the nice list. He's also getting jazz from the Transformers.
Yes. Garnet Hathaway.
Ugh, Gary Hathaway. I'm gonna put him on the naughty list because it's a slight one because again he's a fourth liner, can only do so much. But like I want a little bit more offensive pop out of him. I also want a little bit more of that. He's not an enforcer, but like he's the closest thing the Flyers have to one down there. So I want him to kind of like pop a couple more guys when they're acting up against his guys, stuff like that. Like I like Hathaway for what he is, but I would like a little bit more offense and a little bit more toughness from him.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I'll say he's on the naughty list, but he has the chance to get on the nice list. He's got like 5 days to convince us otherwise.
Yeah, there you go. He might end up with Starscream. We'll see.
We'll see. He can sit around and play with Owen Tippett. Morgan Frost.
The toilet seat is down right now. I think Morgan Frost's end up on the naughty list. Like, what do you do here? You got to do more, my guy. I want to believe in you, Morgan Frost, okay? I don't want to trade you for peanuts and see you succeed elsewhere. I know that's what's going to happen, but you're forcing the hand here. And he's just not going to be the guy here. He's the naughty list. He's getting socks all the way. Socks with coal in it.
Yeah, he's getting socks for sure. Ryan Poehling.
Ryan Poehling's another slate naughty list. He's getting underwear, something functional. I think he's done all right for his position. I thought he was more effective last year as the fourth line center. He's made some boneheaded defensive plays. He hasn't been as valuable in the power kill. I would like a little bit more for what he does from Ryan Poehling.
Sure. Nick Delorier.
Oh, he belongs on the naughty list because he's a naughty boy. All he does is fight and hit. He hasn't really played, and he shouldn't play because he's not that good. Yeah. But the guy can smash somebody's face in. So he's the naughty list, but that's where he wants to be.
Yeah. Bobby Brink.
That's a tough one right there.
That's a tough one.
I think that's if there was a neutral list, it would be there. He's going to be a slight naughty. I wish he had better offensive numbers. He started off pretty good on the offensive numbers. I want more from him. I want more from Bobby Brink. I want Bobby Brink to be a badass on this team offensively. Like I want him to put up points left and right. I want him to be we were talking about him on the power play last night, me and Bill, and like I want him to be invaluable to that power play. I want him to be like a rock star on there. Okay. So it's an encouraging naughty list. Like Bobby, I believe in you. Work your way to the nice list. Work your way to the transformer of your dreams.
So I am going to put him on the nice list.
Oh, wow.
And here's why. Since the New York Rangers game, so that was November 29th, in that game, he had a 79.15 expected goals for percentage. Since then, he has had a single game below 60% of the expected goals for. And that was the Detroit game last on Wednesday. He had 48. That line with him and Typho and Noah Cates is cooking, my guy. So
that line is cooking right now.
He has worked his way onto the nice list since Thanksgiving. Maybe the turkey woke him up and he's like, "Oh yeah, I gotta put my."
Normally the turkey puts you
to sleep. I know.
Yeah. Okay.
So he gets the nice list for me.
There you go.
Tyson Forrester.
Tyson Forrester is very barely the nice list. I wanted a lot from him this year. Like, I loved what he did late last year. I thought he was fantastic late last year, and I wanted to see more of that this year. I wanted to see him take the next step. I think he's starting to get back to the player he was last season, and I'm encouraged by what I'm seeing right now. I want to see more of it. Okay. You can work your way to that Optimus Prime, but right now you're like these other guys. You're getting a minor supporting Transformer. You're not getting the big boy.
He's on the nice list for me, easy, because just like Bobby Brink, ever since that Rangers game, he has looked real good by the numbers. So
yeah,
it was touch and go to start the season. So he worked his way onto the nice list since Thanksgiving.
I love that baby face SOB right there. I want him to just be I want him. Yeah,
he's got a baby face.
Oh my God, those cherubic cheeks! Come on.
I think Bobby Brink's got the baby face.
Bobby Brink is a baby.
Babby Brink.
Babby Brink. Babby Brink is a babby. Like, the dude is a baby. Okay. Like, that is just like a child playing hockey. No, like Tyson Forster has like some, like, it's this like cherubic look about him that is very funny to me. But no, Tyson Forster is one of my favorites. I want nothing but the best for him. Rock the socks off, baby. Let it rip in the second half.
Let's go. Matvei Michkov.
Oh my God. Matvei Michkov is our special boy. He's the nicest boy. He gets whatever he wants for Christmas. All right. He gets the
pony.
He gets the PS5 Pro.
Yep.
He gets the VR system. Whatever that dude wants, I'm getting it for him. I love him so much. Like, what he's doing at 20 years old is ridiculous. And when he's on, he is one of the most special flyers I have seen in a long time. So
it's a blast.
Yeah. It is a pleasure to watch this man play hockey.
It's awesome. All right, on to the defensemen. First up, Ryan Ellis.
Ryan Ellis gets, you know what? He's on the nice list because I feel terrible for that guy.
I know. He's had the worst.
I actually objectively am bummed about what happened to that guy, and like the shit that people say about him, I think is always just like gross, where people are like, well, he just doesn't want to play. It's like, no, this guy cannot, like, from what I've heard is like, he can barely walk. Like, like it sucks. And
it was so embarrassing at the season opener when they introduced him and he was in the audience and people started booing him. I was like, that's such a bad look.
It was a very bad look.
That was like 2 years ago and he hasn't come back since. So I'm like, I don't blame you, man.
No, and he should, like, it's messed up how we treat him. And, you know, no, let's send him something nice. Okay. A little bottle of whiskey for Ryan Ellis. I just feel bad for the guy.
Maybe he went back to Nashville and he's getting some of that Tennessee whiskey. You know?
There are some worse places to be. That's a good spot right there. I enjoyed my weekend in Nashville.
There you go. Travis Sanheim.
Oh, Travis Sanheim's making the nice list. Like, he's been a top 3 flyer this year, easy. Like, he's obviously their best defenseman. He's playing, 22 to 30 minutes a night, which is ridiculous. He's just been very effective both offensively and defensively. I think he's third leading scorer on the team. He gets an Optimus Prime. He also gets the Dino Bot, the T-Rex one. That one's awesome. I love Travis Sanheim. I'm really happy with what I've seen from him.
I agree. He's nice list. Rasmus Ristolainen.
Risto's making the nice list too.
Yeah. Ristolainen.
The Rist Alliance is very happy with what Rasmus is bringing to the table this year. Nice bottle of vodka for that boy.
Hell yeah. For a Finn?
Do the Finns enjoy vodka as well?
I'm sure they must.
I thought that was a thing for some reason. I thought the Finns also enjoyed vodka, but
they probably do.
I might be wrong. We'll see.
You know who might also enjoy some vodka? Igor Zamula.
Igor Zamula might.
I don't think he's getting the vodka.
No, he's making the naughty list. I mean, nothing like. I don't know. I don't think about him too much, but like
he's getting some. What is it, Nikolai? Vladimir?
Vladimir. Oh God, that is some bad shit right there.
No. Nikolai was the better stuff, man. Nikolai was the same price as Vladimir, and it was 110 proof instead of 80 proof, so you knew it was good.
And by the way, one of the major vodka brands is Finlandia. So there you go.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. But Zamula, no way.
No, not
yet, if you will.
Yet. Nick Seeler.
Nick Sealer's making the nice list, but like
Really?
he's not getting anything like great. Like Santa's not bringing him like he ain't getting video games. Like he might get like a cup and ball or something like that. He might get like he might get like apples to apples or something, but like
Right.
he's not
Okay.
getting anything like thrilling because he's not a thrilling guy. But like Nick Sealer does what he does fine. Like he is who he is.
I'm putting him on the naughty list.
Ooh, he's naughty.
Yeah, I think his play's been a little too inconsistent this season.
That's fair.
But hey, he could get himself back on the nice list. You know,
He could just in time for Father Christmas. All he has to do is score. I'll tell you what, if he fights, which it seems, like it seems like it shouldn't work for getting on the nice list. If he fights in the Columbus game, I'll put him on the nice list.
If he goes after Matthew Olivier for that hit on Andre, then yeah,
I'm into that. Yeah,
list. You hear that, Nicky Nails?
You hear that, Nicky Nails, Nicky Seals,
Nicky Seals. All right, Jamie Drysdale.
It pains me because I want the guy to do well, but he's on the naughty list. Like,
really,
my guy, you're an offensive defenseman, and you don't score points. Score some points.
Okay, I'm putting him on the nice list. He's really winning me over the past like few games since he's been back. So
I want this offensive defenseman to score points. Until he scores points, he's not on my nice list.
I mean, nobody on this team can score.
But here's my thing. His whole thing. I was talking. There's another thing I said to Bill yesterday. I was like talking about Shane Gostisbehere as a young offensive defenseman.
Okay,
was not known for his defense. That dude put up numbers. Even Ivan Provorov put up numbers as a young defenseman.
okay.
And Jamie Drysdale's supposed to be known for his offense. So I'm disappointed by the offensive output. He's one of the lowest scoring Flyers on the season. And like he's supposed to be an offensive defenseman. So until he puts up points, I'm going to be disappointed in him. And I'm one of his biggest supporters. I love Jamie Drysdale. I think he's got skating skills that like you can't teach. Yeah. So like he's got skating and stick skills that you can't teach. So I think he's a guy that you're going to have to develop for a few years, but I want to see more out of the offensive game.
That's fair. Yeah, let's see. He's only got 2 points since he's come back, so not ideal.
Yeah.
All right. Who is next?
We got Cam York, right?
Cam York, yeah.
Cam York is an interesting one where it kind of feels like he's having a down year from what he was, but he's not really like it's weird. He's going to make my nice list just a little bit. Okay. Like, yeah. I'm not like overwhelmed by him. He's not getting anything amazing, but you know what? He got something fun, maybe like a tin of cookies or something.
And then he can put his sewing supplies in there.
Exactly. Because we know he loves to sew his jersey afterwards.
I don't know. If we're going off recent play, he automatically makes the naughty list.
I'm going off the whole season, but like recent play, obviously, like
I'm going to put him on the nice list just because I'm such a believer. But I don't know. We'll see how this game against Columbus goes. He could work his way onto the naughty list if he's not careful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next up,
I think he's going to be back, though. I think I have a good feeling about this Columbus game.
Yeah. Erik Johnson.
You could argue he makes the naughty list because he stinks, but like, I think Erik Johnson is he's as neutral as it gets, to be honest. Like he'll make the kind of nice list where like he's like he hasn't done anything wrong. He's old. He's an old defenseman, and he's been a good soldier. He hasn't like groused about being in the press box or anything. No. So he
got his 1,000 games. They gave him a nice celebration, and that was it.
You know what he's getting for Christmas? He's getting, when you get those like pretzel rods that are like chocolate dipped and they're just fine.
Right.
That's what he's getting.
That's what he's getting. Yeah, I'll agree with that. He's on the nice list by default because he hasn't really done anything wrong. This is something I've talked about before with Gilbs. Like, Erik Johnson was on the Colorado Avalanche when Nathan McKinnon, Mikko Rantanen, and Cale Makar all entered the league. So the Flyers were like, yeah, we want him here because he can help Michkov acclimate to the NHL. And I was like, that seems kind of silly. But then I was like, well, he was there when 3 stars like joined the NHL. He's been there and done it before. So I was like, okay, Flyers, I kind of get what you're talking about.
Yeah, they love a locker room guy. I mean, This team, I would say, isn't as bad as some of the Chuck Fletcher teams. Chris Stewart, but
who?
Chris Stewart?
Yeah.
Oh, before your time. Chris Stewart was a lot of penalty minutes for that guy in his time, but he was a longtime Wild player that Chuck Fletcher signed for the Flyers basically just to be a locker room guy. Like
Huh. Okay.
Chris Stewart, let's see, he played 16 games for the Flyers. He had 1 assist, -7,
Wow.
21 penalty minutes,
Cool.
and he averaged 747 a game of ice time.
Incredible.
Yeah. Career penalty minutes, 750 penalty minutes in 668 games played.
Got it. That kind of guy. That
Yes.
kind of guy.
For
All
the
right.
culture. For the culture.
For the culture. Emil Andrae.
Emil Andrae is making my nice list easy. Like
Yep.
I loved Emil Andrae. I think he should be with the NHL club full time. Bring him back. He's getting he's getting something nice, whatever he's feeling.
Yeah, I agree. Emil Andrae, you're on the nice list.
Does that leave us with
he's
the
gonna
goaltenders?
Yeah, but for Emil Andrae, what he's going to get is called back up to the NHL in a couple weeks.
There you go. That's
his
the
nice
gift that
list
keeps
gift.
on giving to Flyers fans.
Yep. Ivan Fedotov.
Ugh, I feel bad for the guy, but he's definitely on the naughty list. Like
I think so.
he will get something that he's going to enjoy though, just because I'm amused by it.
Yeah.
He's going to get a cardboard box to do his breakdancing skills on,
I'm
and a tracksuit.
I'm gonna get him the 2004 version of Dance Dance Revolution. You need
Love
a
it.
PS2 and the foam pad to play it at home.
Yes, I'm into that.
Aleksei Kolosov.
He's on the naughty list for being a pain in the ass about being in the NHL instead of the AHL.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's I'm on board with that.
He is going to get a nice scrunchy set though for his long flowing hair.
He does have some locks, dude. He's got a great flow. Cal Peterson.
Oh my God. The
Hey,
naughtiest list.
Yeah.
Again, I can't blame the guy. He is just terrible. It's not his fault that the Kings thought he was worth $5.5 million a year.
Just
But
five.
he stinks. God, just 5, yeah, but it's 5 too many. He stinks. God, he's the naughty list. He's getting cold, bud.
He's getting
because here's the thing: he can afford to buy himself whatever he wants. He makes $5 million a year.
He's already in Allentown, so
in Allentown.
And then finally, last but certainly not least, our boy Sam Ersson.
Yeah, Sammy the Well Ersson. His numbers aren't great this year. No. He's going to make a slight naughty list, but it's not truly his fault.
How could you?
How could I? Because I need more from Sam Ersson. I need Sam Ersson to be healthy. I need Sam Ersson to be a rock for the Philadelphia Flyers as they try to barely make the playoffs and get smoked by the Carolina Hurricanes. Okay. I want more. I want more. He seems like a nice boy. I want nice things for him.
God, he is on my nice list. 100%. He's on my nice list.
I do know I'm getting him a nice gift though.
Oh,
okay. I'm getting him a massage gun.
Might be helpful.
Might be helpful. Let's get those muscles loose, baby. Let's do it.
Stay nice and limber.
Massage gun and some electrolyte water.
He locked himself onto the nice list at the start of the season when the Flyers were doing is this a Sabrina Carpenter and Iron Maiden lyric? And he's singing Espresso by Sabrina Carpenter. I'm like, oh yeah, he's got it. And he also
all right.
He knows who the Rizzler is. He knows what Skibidi Toilet is. So respect.
That makes one of us.
Skibidi Toilet for all our Zoomer listeners. I'm sure there are all 5 of you Zoomers out there.
There's 10 listeners and 5 Zoomers. So
5 Zoomers.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, that's the roster. Oh, actually, John Tortorella.
Oh, how could we? Well, yeah, how could we forget about Tortsy over there? Tortsy. Yeah. Oh God, what do you get for the man who's benched everyone? Tortsy. Well, you got to put Torts on the naughty list, even if he doesn't necessarily deserve it, because he's a naughty boy. He's the bad boy of coaching. He's actually been pretty nice for the most part. He hasn't made too many toilet seat comments about Morgan Frost this year. He has basically said though that Morgan Frost needs to shit or get off the pot, which is hilarious. Torts,
it's hard to shit. It's hard to shit when you are this toilet seat.
Yeah, basically. I truly don't know where to put Tortsy. Where do you put Tortsy? I truly don't know.
I think he's on the nice list.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's on my nice list. But
He's been
like,
on pretty good behavior, and like he again does a good job with like these young guys, even when they think he's not. Like the 2 games benching Mishkov, we were all skeptical, but he came back strong from that. He does seem to know when to push the buttons with these guys right now, so
yep.
I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, I guess maybe just an extra bag of dog food for his hounds.
So a nice brush for his horses too.
Yeah, to not kick him in the face.
Brad Shaw.
Oh, Brad Shaw. Yeah, it's a nice list, 100%. Brad Shaw's getting like a basket of muffins or something fun.
Yeah, I mean the penalty kill has been slipping, but like he's still on the nice list for
He's
all
on
the
the nice
other
list, and what this team has done with teaching the defenders, Rasmus
Risto,
Ristolainen,
Drysdale. Yeah,
Cam York, Emil Andrae, like they've had some great successes. So like they're
great
doing
success.
something right in that regard.
Great success. And then Rocky Thompson.
Rocky Thompson, you're a naughty boy,
He's
Rocky
on the naughty
Thompson.
list.
You're on the naughty list. You're getting some coal. Fix that damn power play, my guy. Come on.
Yep. Keith Jones.
Oh, we're going all the way up. Okay. Jonesy's on the nice list. Yeah, I think Jonesy has done a really good job, and I was so skeptical of his role when he started, but as soon as I saw him on the Flyers broadcast last preseason, I understood it because he is the voice of the front office. Like he can go out and do all the PR stuff. He has the connections with the league, and he's done a good job with it. Love Jonesy as president so far.
Absolutely nice list, and you're right. He's the voice. He's also the I would say the representative to other front offices. Like my
Exactly.
tinfoil hat theory is the reason that the Cutter Gauthier situation stayed under wraps for so long is that every single GM knew that if you pissed off Keith Jones, you would be ostracized from the GM party. Like you don't do that to Keith Jones. So
Yeah.
I think he had a huge part in helping keep that a secret. So definitely a nice list. And then the man himself, the general manager, Danny Briere.
Danny Bree's getting a nice list from me too. I mean, you could argue, oh, you should have traded for more for Jaracek and all that stuff, but like,
No,
there was a reason they didn't.
yeah,
they had the assets to trade for him. There was a reason they didn't. I like a lot of what they've done. He makes the nice list solely for getting Mishkov over early, for getting him over here
true.
and bringing joy to my Flyers heart again. Like whenever Mishkov has been on, it has made me more excited than anything since Claude Giroux left the Flyers.
Yeah, he's on my nice list. I know people in like Twitter and Instagram comments are like, Danny Briere hasn't done a trade in like a year and a half. I'm like, guys, like, what? This team isn't rebuilding. I'm
Oh
like,
my God,
yes, they
shut
are.
up.
Like,
They have
shut
3
up.
first-round picks next year. Shut up.
Yeah, shut up, guys.
Wine.
Wine,
Oh
wine,
my
wine,
God.
wine.
Yeah, like the thing is we got to see who we got from this group right here. And then we can make some hard decisions. They are going to trade people at a certain point. They are going to trade guys from this young core.
Jonesy said as much in that interview with Kevin Kurz. He was like, some of these guys are going to be here for the whole thing. Some of them are going to be assets to acquire other players, but like we're going to work our best with them regardless of whether they're going to be here forever or just for now.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. It's there will be trades made. They need to figure out who are our guys for the future, who are the guys that we're cutting bait with. Like Morgan Frost seems like a guy they're going to cut bait with. Tyson Forrester seems like a guy who's here for the long run.
yes,
Decisions like that are crucial for this team right now. And this is a great evaluation year. Goaltenders, everybody, there's a lot of evaluating going on. I think next summer at the draft, you're going to see some activity. I don't know that, but Mishkov being here, Mishkov being good now, all that stuff makes a difference.
Maybe we get some. I know people are like, I hope they don't add at the trade deadline. And I'm like, I don't think they will. But if they can make a hockey trade that like,
if they could trade for one of the guys we talked about earlier, I'm into that.
I know people don't see it this way, but the Jamie Drysdale trade, that was a deadline add to help the team in the short term and in the long term.
They needed to make that trade.
They needed to make that trade. Jamie Drysdale helped bring some pop to the defense. He's a right shot. They needed that because they knew Sean Walker was on his way out of town. And he's young enough that he would be a part of the next great Flyers team. So they added a player who helped them in their short-term playoff push and is going to hopefully be here for the long haul and is able to, cement himself as a key part of the Flyers core. So if they make a trade like that going into the deadline, go for it. I'm super on board with that.
Yeah,
They're not going
I'm
to add
totally into that.
They won't add like a 32-year-old vet. They won't get
Eric
socks.
Grant ain't coming, guys.
They won't be getting socks at the deadline. But if
Yeah.
they can find a way to get a high-end young player, and even if it costs them roster players now, I think they do it.
It's about the fit with Mishkov, and it's about making the Flyers good in the next like 4 or 5 years, as opposed for just this year.
But if it happens to help them this year as well, why not?
Cool beans. I'm into that. Yeah.
All right.
Well, Joe, that was a friggin' marathon right there. This is like an old school, like Craig marathon right here. I was into that.
Good start to the weekend.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks for joining me today, man.
Oh,
and
anytime.
One more time, folks, come join us on Monday over at the pub at Xfinity Live. It's going to be BSH, PHLY, joining forces to make a hockey Voltron, and we're going to watch the Flyers and the Penguins. It's Festivus. Air your grievances. I'll probably have my microphone to take on grievances and maybe do a little late recording with the fam over there. Yep. But come out. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a lot of fun.
And in years past, we've gotten like video recordings of Keith Jones saying, "Hello, Flyers fans. Thank you so much for your support." So,
yeah.
And also at the draft parties, Dan Hilferty and the Flyers have bought a round of drinks.
Yeah, I wouldn't promise anything like that. But
we're not promising anything like that. Yeah. But hey, you never know.
You never know. Maybe we do get some support from the big club, and we appreciate
Christmas present, a Christmas gift. We all made the nice list, I'm sure. We all made the nice list.
I hope so. We're trying. We're trying. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate it. If you have any feedback for us, the best place is social media. You can follow me over at Blue Sky, primarily at Flyperbole, also at Esteban, but if it's for hockey purposes, make it Flyperbole. The X/Twitter account's still active, but I ain't going on that shit. It's terrible. Instagram and TikTok as well, while TikTok's still a thing. Joe, yeah. Where can people find you on the socials?
You can find me at JF DeMarini on both Twitter and Blue Sky. However, I'm very much not using Twitter that much anymore. It sucks so much. Most of my posting is on Blue Sky. I have way more like interactions there, so
it's a lot more fun.
That's the best place to reach me.
Yeah, it's clean. It's like you're just not inundated with like posts that you don't want from people you don't care about. Like, yeah, it's nice. It's the nice clean experience. So yeah, great. Go follow us on there. Follow Broad Street Hockey. Subscribe to Broad Street Hockey and all that fun stuff. Be sure to rate and subscribe with the feeds on whatever your podcast service of choice is. And that's it. That's all there is. Thanks so much for listening, folks. We truly appreciate and love you all. And until next time, in the words of the great Gene Hart, good night and good hockey. Wow, 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 wow. Wow, 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 wow.